Guys, it is official. This Saturday, July 31st, 2021, President Joe Biden is to allow eviction moratorium to expire. This Saturday, over 11 million people who are renting homes in America right now have the feeling, have the understanding, know that they are on the verge of being evicted. And as we all know, the eviction moratoriums kept on getting extended. But this seems like it's the last time, and there is no more extensions. We are hearing this firsthand today, and things are getting crazy. Guys, the Biden administration announced Thursday, which is today, it will allow a nationwide ban on evictions to expire Saturday. As we know, the month before this, there was an eviction moratorium extension again. And months before that, it happened again. And even this month, many of you who watch my videos and many of you who know about this say there's no way it's going to get lifted. They're going to keep extending. What we're seeing right now is they're saying that they are arguing that its hands are tied. The Biden administration is saying their hands are tied after the Supreme Court signaled it would only be extended until the end of the month, which is when it was June 31st or June 30th, whatever that was, 2021, it was only going to be extended until the end of the month, which is July 31st, which is this Saturday. This is going to change the markets. Whether you believe that or not, this is going to give landlords the opportunity to finally evict that non-paying tenant for over a year. This is going to make the dynamics of real estate housing change, because now you have about 11 million Americans who now have the possibility and will be evicted, get evicted, and now have to go find another place to stay, maybe go to shelters, head on the streets, and things are going to get crazy because those landlords have a scar and they're going to probably be like, I'm not trying to re-rent, I just want to sell, which is in turn going to make the housing market, the sales and purchases, a little bit different, because as you all know, we got no supply. And what's going to happen when this supply starts to trickle in? Guys, it's intense, and I want you all to know, if you get any value from this video, hit the like button. I'd appreciate it, and it's going to pump this video up to other people just like you. So let's officially dive deeper into this. Now, as we all know and read, President Joe Biden would have strongly supported extending the eviction moratorium again if he could, because of the virus spreading. And as you all know, there's a new virus coming in from the other virus that was already in, and people are scared from that. And these eviction moratoriums were put in place by the CDC on purpose to control the virus, to control the disease, and not have millions of Americans who aren't paying their rent kicked out, put on the streets, or put into shelters, which would in turn give more exposure to the virus. Now, we know President Joe Biden would have extended it if he was able to, but the White House said the Supreme Court has made it clear that this is no longer an option. Extending it is no longer an option. And the embarrassing thing is, guys, is there was $47 billion of rent relief given, right? For landlords, for tenants, for utilities, to be able to let you catch up on your back rent. And out of that $47 billion, in previous videos I made, a fraction of that was actually delivered, which was $1.5 billion. Now we're also hearing that so far, instead of the $1.5 billion, so far it has become $3 billion of that amount that has been distributed through June by states and localities. Now, that's embarrassing. Since when was this $47 billion given to now? How much has only been dispersed? $3 billion, what's the percentage, and how little of an amount that is? And how in the world do you expect people who are behind on their rents and on utilities and landlords not collecting rent to be able to utilize the $47 billion if you haven't distributed them? This is an eviction crisis that is literally coming in the next couple of days, where landlords will take advantage of this. They will evict. They will proceed. They're fed up with it. Now, some states like New York have distributed from this money that they were given almost nothing. Literally what was written through this article was almost nothing has been distributed from the rent relief programs, while several others have only approved a few $1 million, several other states. What do you guys see or think is happening with this? It's said that the pandemic is not behind us, and the United States is still going to be facing the most severe impact with one of the most biggest and largest eviction crisis within the country. We have in history, an eviction crisis like this is unheard of, where you have almost 11 million Americans that are legitly supposed to be out of their homes right now because they're not paying rent. You don't pay, you can't stay. That's sadly how it is. These landlords got bills, they got mortgages, they got property maintenance, they got property insurance, they got property taxes, they got upkeep on the property. They're not making money from you. They need somebody who's going to let them make money. And right now what we're dealing with through the pandemic, it's not over. The consequences are coming. In fact, in a lot of my videos, I say they keep on kicking the can down the road. And this is exactly what I meant. You can't keep on delaying the mortgage forbearance to get people to live in their houses for free. You can't keep having the eviction moratorium staying in place and not allowing tenants to pay rent and landlords just having to deal with that. You just can't. How many more months can they keep extending, guys? How many more months can landlords take it? You as a landlord, you understand exactly where I'm coming from. You as a tenant or as a homeowner, you still understand where landlords are because they got bills to pay too. Not a lot of them have an entire year in their pockets or in their wallets to be able to survive what happened this last year. Over 1 year since the eviction moratorium started. Imagine, over 1 year. So you're talking of an entire year almost of rents not being paid to some landlords. So my question is right now is, how long does it take to distribute $47 billion? It's not a small amount. It's a lot of money. But you literally got landlords and tenants tied behind their backs because there's so much red tape, so much paperwork, so much has to be filed, so much has to be appropriately done. Many landlords are mom and pops. They probably can't even speak English. How are they going to apply for that? Many tenants aren't even being responsive to landlords or even trying to talk to landlords to fill out those papers. Many tenants are just taking advantage of landlords even though they can afford to pay their rent. So how is this going to turn in the next couple of months, and we're already seeing it and hearing it? Landlords are trying to make things work for the tenants, guys. They don't want to have tenants not paying. They will do everything that they can possibly do. They will help them. They will guide them. They will fill paperwork with them. They will hire someone to assist them in whatever possible so they can get their money. But it comes to a point where if the tenants and the landlords don't put their hands together, and also that this paperwork is a lot easier than what it is right now, people just give up. And we're seeing some crazy stuff going to be happening, guys. I just believe that landlords right now in this market who haven't been collecting rent, they're going to put their hands up and say, look, I haven't been getting rent for 8 months on my 7, 10, 20 properties. And I'm fed up with this. And I'm tired of being in the residential real estate industry. I just don't want to be in it. I can't handle it anymore. I can't afford it. And what's going to happen when this eviction moratorium gets lifted? That landlord is going to go file for an eviction. And that landlord sees how hot the housing market is. And that landlord's going to say, let me just list my house on the market and make a sale. Because right now, it's the best time to make a sale. Right now, I'm not trying to re-rent and get the same thing happening to me with the next tenant because I'm already scarred from the previous tenant. So that's going to make the housing market get more supply. That's going to make the rental market have a lot more demand. A lot of tenants who are going to get evicted are going to flock to go find a spot. But what happens when they have an eviction on their record? What happens whenever other landlords learned from the pandemic and are super strict and require work and down payments and all this stuff and double security deposits and 6 months in advance payments? What happens to those tenants who can't afford that or do that? What happens when the markets for the housing market gets more supply and the rental market gets insane amount of demand? Guys, America is becoming a renter's nation. You own multifamily properties, you own rental properties. In the residential world, you're making money because everything in turn is kind of pushing to that as a renter's nation. Of course, you get the wrong tenant, the wrong location, the wrong property, the wrong luck. And this will happen to you as a landlord where you're just fed up with it and you want to sell. But a lot of developments now in this market, what's happening with big companies is they're building entire subdivisions, renting them out, and then selling them to institutional buyers. That's where the market's heading. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 units are being rented and then sold off to an institutional buyer because they like their returns. But those tenants are vetted, qualified, etc. This right here, what happened is a shock in the pandemic. A lot of landlords got some tenants that they didn't put a lot of effort in reviewing them, and they had the verge of losing their job, and then this happened. Right now, we're seeing the eviction moratorium getting lifted, guys, and I'm a firm believer this is going to cause an eviction crisis where evictions are going to back up courts, things are going to get packed up, it's going to be busy. The courts are going to be busy, the landlords filing evictions are going to be busy, and the tenants are going to be busy trying to find a spot for their family. This is huge news, not small news, because you're talking for almost a year you couldn't have been evicted from your property. And yes, there are some states who've extended this, but this eviction moratorium is for the entire United States. State to state differs, but ultimately the majority will follow. Because at the end of the day, landlords can't keep taking on this hit. I was reading an article that shows that the, I believe, apartment association or landlord association or something around those lines is suing for $29 billion of lost rent due to these moratoriums. Imagine, you're not talking about small numbers. Another number showed that there was about $55 to $57 billion of back paid rent into the real estate market from just this last year in this pandemic. This is real, and there is real money on the line for all of this. So for all of you who are wondering about this eviction moratorium, and is there going to be an eviction crisis, guys, there will be. Landlords will kick out tenants and they're fed up with it, and that's what's going to happen. And to be honest, this was a shocker that this eviction moratorium is being lifted. Many didn't believe it. They thought it's just going to keep on getting extended and extended and extended. And at the end of the day, I told you all, you just can't keep extending or delaying. Eventually, someone's got to pay. And right now, what we're seeing is somebody is going to pay. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, got any value from it, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I upload 3 times every week, and also hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Guys, the housing market's going to shift. There's going to be adjustments into the rental market, the housing market for sales and purchases. The demand is going to shift. And as we already see on the market, I'm a real estate agent. I'm seeing price reductions happening. I'm seeing days on the market longer, and I'm seeing houses that were overpriced are now being realistically priced. And that's what we're seeing right now, guys. So stick around, stay watching on my channel because I update you guys with all this stuff. And on this channel, I talk real estate, money, and business. And I'd love seeing you in the next video. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'm out.